Eric Trump's crypto firm tumbles, loses 51% value in just 26 minutes. Trump's crypto empire crumbles. Corruption reports ignite war. Fight is on Trump's crypto deals.
Hello and welcome. You're watching NewsX Explain with me, Uday Pratap Singh. Tonight we're diving into a story that sits at the intersection of politics, money, power and digital chaos. A story that unfolded quietly, then violently, as trillions of dollars evaporated across global crypto market. Let's talk about the war over Trump's crypto deals, now under a fiery spotlight amidst the global crypto crash. The crash on 2nd December in the crypto miner American...
Okay, so here's a story that reveals something fundamental about where Trump actually stands financially and why it matters for understanding everything else happening with his presidency right now. On the surface, you might think Trump is doing great financially. His cryptocurrency ventures have generated over $800 million in the first half of 2025 alone. His total crypto portfolio is valued at over $11 billion, and he's got Saudi-backed golf courses and international licensing deals keeping money flowing in. But underneath that flashy crypto success, the traditional real estate empire that Trump built his entire brand and identity around is hemorrhaging cash and showing signs of potential collapse that even the cryptocurrency windfall may not be able to fix in the long run. But before we go any further, real quick, let's be honest, you can't really trust mainstream media anymore. That's why we built Pump Politics, to bring you real stories, real context, and no corporate spin. If you want to stay ahead of the headlines, join our free newsletter. We'll send the news straight to your inbox every day. Just click the link in the description to join. And if you just want to support what we're doing, join us. Be part of the community that actually cares about the truth. All right, let's get back to the video.
Watchdogs. NFTs became merchandise that could raise millions in hours. Crypto donations became anonymous, fast, global, and in a political landscape where every dollar matters. This new digital money was too tempting to ignore. When the crypto market crashed, the US government launched multiple parallel investigations into exchanges, into token founders, into wallet movements, and into the political figures who benefited from the boom. And this time, the net was wide enough to catch everything, even the Trump-linked blockchain transactions. Federal officials began tracing who bought Trump's NFTs, which wallets funded the purchases, who profited the most, which crypto donors were...
Let me walk you through what's actually happening, because the numbers tell a story that the headlines about crypto riches don't capture. Trump still owes more than $500 million from the New York fraud judgment, the case where he was found liable for systematically inflating the value of his assets to obtain favorable loan terms. Despite putting up a $300 million appeal bond, he hasn't actually made any payments toward that judgment. On top of that, there's $91 million from the E. Jean Carroll defamation verdicts that he's also on the hook for. That's nearly $600 million in legal judgments alone, not counting legal fees and other costs from the many cases he's been fighting. And the properties themselves, the actual buildings that made Trump famous and that served as the tangible symbols of his success, are in serious trouble. Trump Tower, the iconic Fifth Avenue building that was Trump's flagship property and the headquarters of his entire operation, has seen its retail occupancy collapse. Where there used to be high-end luxury retailers paying premium rents, now it's down to essentially Gucci and a gift shop. The building that was supposed to represent the pinnacle of Manhattan luxury real estate is struggling to find tenants willing to pay what Trump needs to keep the property profitable. The situation at 40 Wall Street, another major Trump property in the Manhattan financial district, shows similar problems with high vacancy rates and declining revenue. The Trump International Hotel and Tower in Chicago has been plagued by vacancies and financial struggles for years, and the Trump Hotel in Washington, D.C., which was supposed to be a crown jewel property where foreign governments and lobbyists could curry favor by booking expensive rooms, was sold under distressed conditions. The buyer then defaulted on a $28 million loan related to the purchase, creating additional complications in what was already a troubled transaction. Trump reportedly netted $79 million from that sale, but for a property that was supposed to be a trophy asset generating ongoing revenue, that's a disappointing outcome. Come on. Think about what this means for Trump's actual financial position. The crypto income is real and substantial. $802 million in the first half of 2025 is serious money by any measure. But cryptocurrency is volatile and dependent on market conditions that can change rapidly. The regulatory environment that's allowed Trump to profit so enormously from crypto is directly tied to policies his own administration is implementing, which creates massive conflict of interest questions And the foreign money flowing into these ventures is largely invisible from public disclosure requirements, meaning we don't really know who's paying Trump or what they might expect in return. Meanwhile, the real estate empire that's supposed to be the foundation of Trump's wealth is showing cracks everywhere. Vacant properties don't just fail to generate income, they cost money to maintain. Property taxes on major Manhattan buildings run into millions of dollars annually, whether the building is full or empty. Maintenance, security, utilities, insurance, all of these costs continue regardless of occupancy. A building that's not generating revenue is actively draining resources, and Trump appears to have multiple properties in exactly that situation. The TV and licensing revenue that supplemented Trump's real estate income during his pre-presidential years has also declined dramatically. The Apprentice is long over. The celebrity brand that allowed Trump to license his name to everything from steaks to vodka to university education has been damaged by political polarization. Companies that might have paid for Trump branding before 2015 are now reluctant to associate themselves with a figure that alienates half their potential customer base. The licensing deals that still exist are increasingly concentrated in international markets, particularly Saudi Arabia and other Gulf states, where the political dynamics are different, but the questions about what the arrangement actually involves are, if anything, more concerning. The Saudi connection deserves particular attention. Forbes and other outlets have reported extensively on how Trump's finances have become intertwined with Saudi money through golf courses, licensing deals, and other arrangements. The Saudi Public Investment Fund and associated entities have invested in Trump-related projects in ways that create obvious questions about whether official U.S. policy towards Saudi Arabia is being influenced by the president's personal financial interests. When the president's businesses are being sustained by foreign government money, that's not just a financial story. It's a national security and corruption story. Truth Social, the social media platform that was supposed to be Trump's answer to being banned from Twitter, represents another financial time bomb. The company went public through a SPAC merger and at one point had a substantial market capitalization. But the underlying business fundamentals have always been questionable. Limited user base, limited advertising revenue, limited growth prospects. Trump holds a massive stake that's theoretically worth billions, but actually selling that stake in any significant volume would likely crash the price. It's wealth on paper that can't be converted to cash without destroying its own value. So what we have is a financial empire that's being sustained by cryptocurrency windfalls and foreign money while the traditional business foundations crumble underneath. The crypto provides short-term liquidity that keeps the bills paid and creates impressive headline numbers, but it doesn't fix the fundamental problems with the real estate portfolio or eliminate the massive legal judgments hanging over Trump's head. And the conflicts of interest created by a sitting president profiting enormously from crypto while his administration sets crypto policy are extraordinary, even by the standards of this scandal-plagued administration. So in this video, we're going to break down exactly what's happening with Trump's finances and why the crypto success masks deeper problems. We're going to look at the specific properties that are struggling and what that means for the empire's long-term viability. We're going to examine the legal judgments still outstanding and how they could force asset sales if payment is ever actually required. And we're going to discuss the conflict of interest implications of a president whose personal wealth is so dependent on policy decisions his own administration is making. Let's get into it. All right, let's get into the specific numbers and details, because understanding the actual financial situation Trump is facing helps explain both why the crypto pivot was so important and why it may not be enough to solve the underlying problems with his business empire. The cryptocurrency ventures that have generated such enormous income for Trump and his family represent a remarkable pivot that's been facilitated directly by his return to the presidency. According to Reuters' detailed accounting, the Trump organization's crypto-related income totaled approximately $802 million in the first half of 2025 alone. The total portfolio valuation across various crypto assets and ventures has been estimated at $11.6 billion. Though cryptocurrency valuations are inherently volatile and can change dramatically based on market conditions. This crypto wealth didn't materialize through traditional business acumen or savvy investment timing. It emerged because Trump's position as president allows him to influence the regulatory environment for cryptocurrency in ways that directly benefit his own holdings. His administration has pursued aggressive deregulation of crypto markets, appointed friendly regulators, and created conditions that have driven crypto prices higher. When the president can move markets with a tweet or a policy announcement, and when that president holds billions in crypto assets, the conflict of interest is obvious and unprecedented. The sources of the crypto income include various token launches, NFT sales, and other digital asset ventures that have attracted buyers who may be motivated by more than just investment returns. When foreign individuals or entities purchase Trump-branded crypto assets, that money flows to Trump and his family with minimal transparency about who's actually buying. Unlike traditional political donations or business transactions, crypto purchases can be structured in ways that obscure the identity and motivations of buyers. This creates a potential channel for influence buying that's largely invisible to public oversight. But while the crypto income provides crucial short-term liquidity, it doesn't address the structural problems with Trump's traditional real estate business. The New York fraud judgment of over $500 million remains outstanding and unpaid. This judgment resulted from a civil case brought by New York Attorney General Letitia James, in which Trump was found liable for systematically inflating the value of his assets, sometimes by hundreds of millions of dollars, to obtain favorable loan terms, insurance rates, and other financial benefits. The fraud wasn't a single incident, but a pattern of deception that pervaded Trump Organization financial statements over many years. Trump posted a $300 million appeal bond while challenging the judgment. But posting a bond isn't the same as paying a judgment. The bond is essentially insurance that guarantees payment if the appeal fails. So far, Trump has made no actual payments toward the judgment, while his appeals proceed through the courts. If those appeals ultimately fail, which legal experts generally expect, given how clearly the trial evidence established the fraudulent conduct, Trump will owe the full amount plus interest, potentially exceeding $500 million, depending on how long the appeals process takes. The E. Jean Carroll defamation verdicts add another $91 million in legal liability. Carroll successfully sued Trump for defaming her after she accused him of sexual assault. A jury awarded her $83.3 million in one case and $5 million in another. These judgments are also being appealed, but the legal consensus is that Trump is likely to owe most or all of this money eventually. Combined with the New York fraud judgment, Trump faces nearly $600 million in legal liabilities before accounting for ongoing legal fees across his many cases. The property-by-property analysis reveals how badly the traditional real estate business is performing. Trump Tower on Fifth Avenue was once the gleaming symbol of Trump's success. Luxury retail on the lower floors, high-end residences above, the headquarters of the Trump Organization commanding the building. Now the retail space has emptied out dramatically. Major tenants have left, and the building has struggled to replace them. The presence of just Gucci and a gift shop among major remaining tenants is a stark indicator of how far the property has fallen from its former status. The reasons for Trump Tower's decline are multiple and interconnected. Political polarization has made Trump-branded properties unattractive to many potential tenants who don't want to associate their businesses with such a controversial figure. Security concerns have made the building inconvenient, with barriers and checkpoints creating an unwelcoming atmosphere for retail shoppers. And the general trend in Manhattan retail, with high-end stores struggling against e-commerce competition, has hit Fifth Avenue properties hard. Trump Tower has been particularly affected because it combines all these negative factors. 40 Wall Street, a major office building in the financial district, has faced its own challenges. Office vacancy rates across Manhattan have been elevated since the pandemic, but Trump properties appear to be underperforming even the challenging market. Tenants who might otherwise consider the space are deterred by the Trump name, and the political baggage associated with the building limits the pool of potential occupants. High vacancy means reduced rental income, while property taxes and maintenance costs continue. The Chicago property, Trump International Hotel and Tower, has been troubled almost since its opening. The building was developed at the worst possible time, opening just as the 2008 financial crisis devastated the real estate market. It's never fully recovered, and attempts to sell the property or restructure its finances have been unsuccessful. The building continues to operate but reportedly loses money, draining resources from elsewhere in the Trump Organization. The Washington, D.C. hotel represented a particularly fraught situation that the sale was supposed to resolve. The hotel, located in the old post office building on Pennsylvania Avenue, was supposed to be a premier property where visiting dignitaries, lobbyists, and favor seekers would book rooms and hold events as a way of directing money toward Trump. The emoluments clause implications were obvious and troubling from the start. The eventual sale generated $79 million for Trump after subtracting debt and other obligations, but the buyer, CGI Merchant Group, subsequently defaulted on $28 million in loans related to the purchase, creating ongoing complications. The Saudi and Gulf state involvement in Trump's finances represents the most concerning aspect of his current business model. Forbes has documented extensive financial relationships between Trump properties and Saudi-connected money, including the Saudi public investment fund's involvement in Trump-branded golf courses and other ventures. Live Golf, the Saudi-backed tour that has disrupted professional golf, has held events at Trump properties and directed significant revenue to Trump businesses. These arrangements create obvious corruption concerns. When the president's personal finances depend on money from a foreign government, how can that president be expected to make objective policy decisions about that country? Saudi Arabia has major interests in U.S. foreign policy, arms sales, regional security arrangements, energy policy, human rights issues. Every decision Trump makes on these issues is now shadowed by questions about whether his personal financial interests are influencing policy. The foreign money flowing to Trump operates with minimal transparency. Unlike domestic political donations, which are subject to disclosure requirements and contribution limits, business arrangements with foreign entities face much less scrutiny. Trump can receive essentially unlimited money from foreign sources through his businesses without detailed public disclosure of who's paying and how much. This creates obvious channels for foreign influence that traditional ethics rules were designed to prevent. Truth Social presents a different kind of financial challenge. The company went public through a merger with a special purpose acquisition company, SPAC, and Trump's stake was at one point valued at several $1 billion on paper. But the company's actual business performance has been weak. Limited user growth, limited advertising revenue, limited prospects for becoming a profitable enterprise. Trump is restricted from selling his shares for extended periods, and even when restrictions lift, any significant sale would likely crash the stock price given how thinly traded the shares are. Okay, so let's break this down into the key points that everyone needs to understand, because Trump's financial situation has direct implications for his presidency, his decision-making, and the corruption concerns that shadow everything his administration does. Point number one, the crypto windfall that's generating impressive headline numbers is directly tied to Trump's presidential power and creates unprecedented conflicts of interest that go to the heart of governance. When a sitting president holds $11 billion in crypto assets while his administration sets crypto policy, every regulatory decision is tainted by the obvious question of whether it's designed to benefit the president personally. The $802 million in income during the first half of 2025 didn't come from Trump being a savvy investor. It came from his ability to move markets and set policy in ways that increase the value of his own holdings. Point number two, the traditional real estate empire that Trump built his brand around is genuinely struggling with high vacancies, declining rents, and properties that are bleeding cash rather than generating income. Trump Tower's collapse from luxury retail destination to largely vacant space is a symbol of broader problems across the portfolio. 40 Wall Street has elevated vacancies. The Chicago property has been troubled for years. The DC hotel had to be sold under distressed conditions. These aren't minor setbacks. They represent fundamental problems with the business model that crypto income can mask but not fix. Point number three, the nearly $600 million in outstanding legal judgments creates ongoing financial pressure that could eventually force asset sales or other dramatic actions. The New York fraud judgment alone exceeds $500 million with no payments made despite losing at trial. The Carroll defamation verdicts add another $91 million. These amounts keep growing with interest while appeals proceed, and eventually Trump will have to actually pay or face asset seizure. The crypto income provides breathing room, but it doesn't eliminate the underlying obligations. Point number four, the Saudi and Gulf state money flowing into Trump's businesses represents potential foreign corruption that's operating with minimal transparency or oversight. When the president's golf courses, licensing deals, and other ventures depend on money from foreign governments, every foreign policy decision involving those countries is compromised. The amounts involved are substantial, the disclosure requirements are minimal, and the potential for quid pro quo arrangements is obvious. This is exactly the kind of foreign influence the Emoluments Clause was designed to prevent. Point number five, Truth Social represents paper wealth that can't actually be converted to cash without destroying its own value, making Trump's true net worth impossible to accurately assess. The company's business fundamentals are weak, despite the inflated stock valuation. Trump's stake looks impressive on paper, but functions more as an illiquid asset that's difficult or impossible to monetize. When evaluating Trump's actual financial position, Truth Social should probably be heavily discounted from its nominal market value. The conflict of interest implications for crypto policy are staggering when you think through the specifics. Trump's administration has appointed crypto-friendly regulators, blocked enforcement actions against crypto companies, and pursued deregulation that has boosted crypto prices. Every single one of these decisions directly benefits Trump personally, given his massive crypto holdings. When the president can add billions to his net worth by making regulatory decisions, the corruption is structural rather than requiring any specific quid pro quo. The real estate decline matters beyond just Trump's personal finances because it reveals something about the underlying strength of his brand and business acumen. Trump built his public image on being a successful real estate developer and deal maker. The Apprentice and everything that followed depended on the perception of Trump as a business genius whose success proved his exceptional abilities. If the actual properties are struggling, losing tenants, and bleeding money, that narrative collapses. The emperor has no clothes, or at least far fewer clothes than he's been claiming. The foreign money dimension connects directly to national security concerns that should worry everyone, regardless of political affiliation. Saudi Arabia, the UAE, and other Gulf states have specific interests in American foreign policy. They want arms sales approved. They want security guarantees maintained. They want human rights criticisms muted. They want regional rivals contained. Every decision Trump makes on these issues is now compromised by the obvious reality that his personal income depends on keeping these governments happy. This isn't hypothetical corruption, it's structural corruption built into the arrangement. For the 2026 midterm implications, Trump's financial vulnerability creates both risks and opportunities that will play out unpredictably. If legal judgments force asset sales or create financial distress, that becomes a campaign issue. If the crypto bubble bursts and Trump's wealth evaporates, his image of success takes another hit. If Saudi money continues flowing while Trump makes Saudi-friendly policy decisions, corruption charges gain additional resonance. Democrats will certainly hammer these issues, but Republican candidates will face uncomfortable questions about why they're supporting a president with such obvious financial conflicts. The transparency problem is fundamental and likely unsolvable under current arrangements. Trump has refused to divest his businesses or create meaningful blind trusts. His financial disclosures are incomplete by design. The crypto income operates through structures that obscure who's actually paying. The foreign money flows through business arrangements rather than political channels that would require disclosure. There's simply no way for the public, Congress, or law enforcement to fully understand who's paying Trump and what they might expect in return. Looking at the long-term trajectory, the crypto lifeline may be delaying rather than preventing a reckoning for the Trump business empire. Cryptocurrency is volatile. Prices that have soared can crash dramatically. The regulatory environment that's boosting Trump's crypto income could change if Democrats gain power or if bipartisan concerns about corruption grow strong enough. And the underlying problems with the real estate portfolio, aging buildings in competitive markets, a polarizing brand that limits tenant pools, massive legal judgments accruing interest, aren't going away just because crypto is providing temporary liquidity. The comparison to other presidential financial scandals is instructive. Previous presidents have faced criticism for various financial arrangements, but the scale and brazenness of Trump's situation is genuinely unprecedented. No previous president has held billions of dollars in volatile assets whose value is directly affected by presidential policy decisions. No previous president has received such large flows of money from foreign governments through business arrangements. No previous president has faced hundreds of millions in legal judgments while simultaneously exercising the powers of the office. The accumulated conflicts and corruptions exceed anything in American history. For Trump personally, the financial picture is better than it looked before the crypto pivot, but more precarious than the headline numbers suggest. The crypto wealth provides breathing room and creates the appearance of success, but it's dependent on market conditions that could change, policy conditions that require maintaining power, and arrangements with purchasers whose identities and motivations are often unknown. Meanwhile, the traditional business foundations continue to weaken, the legal judgments continue to accrue, and the foreign money continues to create corruption concerns. Anyway, that's where things stand with Trump's financial empire that's relying on cryptocurrency to mask underlying real estate collapse and legal liability. The $802 million in crypto income that came from favorable policies Trump himself implemented, the vacant properties, bleeding cash from Trump Tower to Chicago, the $500 million plus in legal judgments still unpaid, the Saudi money sustaining operations while creating foreign policy conflicts, and the Truth Social paper wealth that can't actually be converted to cash. Make sure you're subscribed because the financial dimensions of Trump's presidency intersect with everything else we've been covering. The legal battles, the policy decisions, the foreign relationships, the corruption concerns, whether crypto prices hold or crash, whether legal judgments finally force asset sales, whether the Saudi connections face meaningful scrutiny, all of it will unfold over the coming months in ways that affect not just Trump's personal wealth, but American governance and policy. And if you think the conflicts of interest are concerning now, just wait until the next crypto policy decision or arms sale to Saudi Arabia makes the connections even more obvious. I'll see you in the next one.